Hello YouTube, it's PokeTie90 and I am still alive, actually. Yeah, it's been a very long time since I made a video. I moved, I was very busy with work, but I am here with a little update and should actually be quite a long video because I'm actually recapping a season that I did in a draft league. I was asked to join the NNDL, the Ninamori Nation Draft League, Season 3, to replace a coach who left after the first 2 weeks. So I was given an 0-2 record and an opportunity to redraft a team that I inherited, and with that team and all the undrafted mons. So we're just going to jump right into who I decided to use this season. I started with Mega Venusaur. This is a point-based draft league, so you're given 1,300. There we go. Points, and Mega Venusaur was 170. It's a mon that I have a little experience with, not too much. I know it's a beast. I know it's very fat. It's really good to build around. So I decided that that is what I wanted to start my team with. Next, I picked up Azumarill, also 170 points. Azumarill, great fairy type that was still around. There aren't too many of those. Water, of course, for the water, grass, and I'll just need that fire to complete that core. Obviously very threatening. Aqua Jet as a great option, so I was very excited to use Azumarill. Arcanine was next for 150 points. Arcanine is very versatile, gets a huge move pool. It can be offensive, physically, or especially. It can be defensive, it can be bulky. Intimidate and Flash Fire, both great abilities. It has Justified as well, which is not as good, but it could possibly be good sometimes still. So I was very excited to use Arcanine and finish out that core. Haxorus is next. Haxorus was 150 points. This was getting my Fairy and Dragon type for another core. Haxorus I really like. It has that monstrous attack, I think 147 base if I'm remembering properly. Not the best speed, but Mold Breaker means Earthquake doesn't care about Levitate, so Rotoms beware. But Dragon Dance, Sword Dance, I think Agility also, so lots of great options. Can band, can scarf, so I was pretty excited to use him. I haven't used him much competitively, but yeah, that's Haxorus. Registeel was next to finish the other core. Registeel was 120 points. It's a mon that I have loved, haven't really used much, a little bit, but not too much. But I needed a good steel type. Again, there weren't many left, so I decided to pick up Registeel, and I was very excited for him this season. Thundurus Incarnate for 170 points. This is a mon that I have never used before. I know it's Prankster, Thunderwave, helps if you get in trouble against like some D-dances and stuff to slow things down and let your team not get swept, but it can also Volt Switch, Nasty Plot, Agility. Someone I've never used, so I was very excited to try that out brand new. Aerodactyl was next, 100 points. Aero is a mon that I've used many times. Love the speed, of course, everyone knows that about me. I love very fast mons. So it's a great speed tier. It doesn't hit the hardest and doesn't get U-turn, which you'll see I am very frustrated with throughout the season because it's not fair that ridiculous things get U-turn and not Aerodactyl. But I was very excited to have him. Adds another rocker to my team and great speed. So yeah, excited to have him back. Alakazam at 150 points, another fast mon from Gen 1 also. I do get accused a couple times this season of being a Gen 1er, which is ridiculous because it is not at all my favorite gen. But Alakazam, yeah, I love its versatility. Pretty good move pool, not the greatest in the world. It doesn't get Thunderbolt or Ice Beam, but it's very powerful, fast. The Life Orb Magic Guard is awesome. Also not having to worry about like coming in on a Toxic or a Burn. And just fast, being able to revenge, being able to hit things really hard. So excited for Alakazam. Cryogonal for 60 points. Adds ice coverage, which I don't really have. I think Azumarill might get Ice Punch, except that's redundant with Play Rough usually, so it doesn't run it very often, so I wanted that. Also, it does add Rapid Spin, albeit not a good one. It adds Knockoff, although it's not going to do any damage with it. But yeah, Cryogonal was just a nice, for 60 points, was a good pick. And lastly, a mon that I always really like, Metacham, for the last 60 points. Metacham is... Obviously, everyone knows Mega Metacham, but regular Metacham is still pretty good with the Pure Power ability. It has a really strong attack stat based on that. It's, slow, which isn't the best, but if you work around that, getting rid of their fast ones, it can really put in some work. So hopefully this season you'll see some of that. And then how this league works with these Z crystals, you're allowed to give them to any number of mons as long as their total points are 300 or less. So I chose to give Z crystal options to Alakazam and Arcanine. So jumping right into it, I'm not going to go in depth and play every battle from the season because this video would be like 4 hours long. So I'm just going to put up a screenshot of the battle. There is the link there. And just kind of go over. So week 3, you can see here. So my team is 0-2. Of course, I've not had a battle yet. Not a great matchup for me. We see that the opponent has Latias. That's actually Mega Latias. And I don't have anything that can touch that. So I do lose 0-3. He gets, he gets behind a sub. There's also some para hacks against me, but that's not really super relevant because I still couldn't really get through Latias. So unfortunately, I lose my first match, 0-3. Next is week 4, obviously. My team is 0-3. I'm 0-1. With this matchup, he has the Mega Zard X, Celesteela, Clefable. This was the team originally I was told I was taking over this team, and then I was saying I was going to drop everything and get an entirely new team, and then they're like, oh no, this guy's staying now. I'm taking over a different team. So kind of wanted to show that I could beat this team, and I actually do. I win 3-0 with Alakazam getting a sweep at the end, killing his last 4 mons because I get behind a sub when Celesteela is leech seeded, and then proceed to set up 2 Calm Mines and just wreck everything. I do have Z-Zap Cannon too, which is cool. Next, week 5, so I'm 1-3. I'm 1-1. My team is 1-3. This one I do not play well, and I do not have a good matchup. Melmetal is just too much for my team to overcome, especially when I know that Mega Venusaur gets paralyzed, which doesn't help, but I think I think Arcanine ends up paralyzed too, and yeah, just between Paralysis, Porygon 2, and Melmetal, I can't break through this, so unfortunately I do lose 0-5. I do make 2 free agency changes to my roster this time. So I add Starmie in place of Azumarill. And I also add Salamence in place of Haxorus. I need more rapid spin, hazard control. So Starmie was very important. I do lose the fairy typing, but honestly, I don't think that's as important as the ability to get rid of rocks and spikes. And then Salamence, I just feel the Intimidate, the versatility being mixed, that'll do better for my team than Haxorus. And they were the opposite number of points, so I kind of needed to make that change anyways. So now we're on to week 6 versus my cousin/rival Andy, aka Elegy, aka Ninimori Fanboy, aka Link Below. So I am 1-2 in the league so far, and my team being 1-4. And with this, I do win 3-0. Starmie had an awesome move here. I surprise Oko'd his bulky Mega Diancie with Flash Cannon because he prepped to be able to survive Surf, Scald, and I think even some rolls of Hydro, but Flash Cannon was where it was at. And then I have some great moves of just Mega Venusaur being fat in this match to win 3-0. And then my final free agency exchange. So I do add for week 7 Electivire over Cryogonal. Cryogonal was pretty underwhelming. You really have to predict perfectly for that to be at all useful. And there were no good ground types that I could get, but Electivire does offer that electric immunity, so I decided to give that a shot. And so here in week 7, I am 2-2, the team 2-4. This match here, I do lose 0-2. I really wasn't prepared for Dusclops being so fat, and I didn't play especially well in this match. All right, so week 8, I am 2-3. We can see, looking at this roster, I play pretty okay. I do let hazards get stacked on my side, and I don't play well with against a Scarfed Hydreigon, who I could see was scarfed earlier. It made sense that it was scarfed even before I knew for sure, but I still just didn't play well about it. So I did lose 0-3. All right, so now I'm in a 2-game losing streak, and against this team with the Mega Gallade, Bisharp, I play okay. I do unfortunately lose 0-1. I built a pretty good team, and I did enjoy my Arcanine's Steelium Z Ironhead taking out a Sylveon, but my roster is not great against dark types, and Bisharp really put in the work. All right, so we're on to week 10. I am 2-5 for my record, the team 2-7. I'm in a bit of a 3-game losing streak now, and you can see this is Latios on the other side, but it's not just any Latios, it's Mega Latios, which I still don't have anything on my roster to handle with no dark types, and so I do end up losing this one 0-3. All right, week 11. Things are really not good for my record of 2-8, 2-6 myself, and I really need to turn things around. How this league works is the bottom 2 performers, they get kicked out of the league and they have to go into the minors league. So I would prefer not to do that. We have only 3 weeks of the regular season left, so I want to see what I can do. So this is actually this matchup when we got to the actual battle and started and showed our teams. I was pretty flustered because the team page on our document is the team that was drafted, and the draft page in the document is the current team after trades, because that makes lots of sense. Anyways, looking at this team, surprisingly you would not expect, but Volbeat was the most frustrating thing on this team, with apparently Prankster, so it can just like toxic and set up subs, and that was a little difficult, but I do manage to pull through and get the win, 1-0. I do have Scarfed Arrow, and I planned that because I just didn't want to have things come down to entire luck with speed tie with Weavile, so my Scarfed Arrow does pull out the win. Alright, so on to week 12, after finally breaking that losing streak. Feeling good going into this battle. His roster, he has Kyurem. He had a Swellow, which I was a little nervous about because, as you can see, I didn't bring Arrow, and so Swellow would be able to outspeed everything, and Boom Burst can hit hard. So he's really focused on Registeel, putting in some work against that, but he doesn't bring that. So he has 3 water types also, which is pretty cool for a team with Nagavinu. But this is really the match that I feel like I usually do a pretty good or a great job with the team building for my opponent's roster, but I don't play as well as I build my teams. But this week everything came together. I had some strong switches. I had a great Life Orb coverage set with Alakazam that put in a lot of work early game especially. I had Fightium Z Arcanine with max speed so that it could at worst speed tie but likely outspeed Kyurem and take it out with a Fightium Z close combat. And the most important thing at the end of this match, I had an Expert Belt mixed attacker Metacham that put in significant work and got 3 of the final 4 KOs. So I did win this match 5-0. And week 13, my final match of the league, because I will not be making playoffs, of course, but I am on my first win streak, so I would like to finish out strong, and this is against Scoot. Scoot is someone that I've battled a few times over the years in a couple other leagues, and I honestly don't think I've ever beaten him. So I'm in good momentum here, but he's a very tough opponent. So my planning was really on point again this match. I had a Z Zap Cannon max speed Alakazam to take out Mega Pinsir. But then in the battle, I really noticed that he tried super hard to get an early knockoff from Alolan Persian on Registeel, and he kept trying to do that. And I really was sure then that he didn't have much to take on Registeel, so I was patient, and I finally got Registeel in at the right time and set up. So this Registeel was Curse, Rest, Sleep Talk, and I was able to set up, and that takes out it ends up sweeping the final 4 Mons on his team to give me a 3-0 victory and win out my last 3 matches of the season. So to recap my season, the final record for me as a coach was 5-6. The team's final record then was 5-8. Overall, we had a KO to kill differential of -2, which, considering where I was in the midst of my losing streak, I was very happy with ending up at -2. So now I'm just going to go through and grade each of the Mons performances from my roster. Mega Venusaur is first, and I am giving that a grade of an A. He was a boss this season. I was so happy to have drafted him. I had so much fun using him. He can take hits from almost anything and has all kinds of recovery with Leech Seed and Giga Drain. Prediction-wise, having the ability to, obviously everyone has the ability to protect, but when Leech Seed's up, protect is so useful. But it also works for scouting those psychic moves that many Mons secretly get. I would absolutely love to use him again in the future. And for me, the season highlight for Mega Venusaur was in Week 8 versus Predator 30. After KOing the Omastar, he sends in Metacham, and rather than think he's going to go for Fake Out, I'm like, no, he's going to expect me to expect the Fake Out, and I'm going to switch out to someone. So I expected the High Jump Kick. I go for the Protect. He did High Jump Kick and lost half his health right there. Starmie is the next Mon we're going to talk about. My grade for Starmie is going to be a B+. Starmie is a Mon that I've used before, but didn't really have great success with him. I felt like we worked much, much better together this season, though, mostly based on just my better play with him from the past. He's definitely someone I would enjoy using again in the future, and I'm really happy with some of the sets I used. Having some bulk Assault Vest was randomly really good to survive some strong hits and then hit back hard. And that will lead right into his season highlight. Starmie's season highlight was Week 6 versus Elegy, taking a hit from the Mega Diancie and then OHKOing it back with a Flash Cannon. Next Mon to talk about is Arcanine. Arcanine, I'm giving a grade of a B. He was one of my 2 Z-Mons this season, and I was very pleased with the results. Arcanine has incredible coverage, both physically and specially, and even some great support moves. His abilities are great, his versatility is great. The typing worked really well, especially with Morning Sun for recovery if rocks were out, which is not really a move that I've used historically with Arcanine. I don't understand why, because it was incredibly useful. Arcanine, especially with the threat of Z moves, can force switches a lot and give you that free recovery to make up for the rock weakness. He's definitely a Mon, again, that I would like to use in the future if possible, and season highlight will be from Week 9 versus AAA, and his Sylveon came in and started to set up Calm Minds, but my Steelium Z turned Ironhead into Corkscrew Crash and O-Code to stop that nonsense. Salamence is next. Salamence, I'm going to give a grade of a C+. Salamence has always been a Mon that I've liked, but it really didn't take off on my roster this season. I feel like it's kind of been crept out of dominance in the last several generations, and can't seem to ever get things right with it. I'd be open to using it in the future because its abilities, it has so much versatility, but this team didn't really work well with it. But a season highlight, if I have to pick one, was Week 6 against Elegy, and in this epic battle of the cousins, we each led with our dragons, his Dragonite and my Salamence, and basically double KO'd. As I was sashed, he went for the Z Outrage as I Dragon Danced, and then my +1 Outrage O-Code him, and then I was immediately revenge killed, but that was still pretty cool. Registeel is next. I'm giving Registeel a B-. Registeel has been a favorite Mon of mine for a very long time. It's someone I liked in the Ruby and Sapphire games. I enjoyed in the anime when I think his name was Brandon, just beat Ash up with it. And even I remember way back in the day, before PokeTubing was really a thing, but there was a guy, I think his name was Uton, and he used the Regis, and it was really cool. But this season, I think I did a really great job with Registeel and using it to nearly the best of its potential. I would definitely love to use it again in the future. And for a season highlight, of course, it has to be week 13 versus Scoot when we have the Curse sweep taking out Elohim Persian, Rotom Wash, Zera Aura, and Mew, all with Iron Head. Thundurus Incarnate is next. Thundurus Incarnate is someone I haven't really used ever before, and who honestly I think I let down this season. There are many things about the Mon that should work for me. High speed, anti-sweep support with Prankster Thunderwave, ability to set up. I just feel like I never had the right sets or use them in the right moments. Maybe it just wasn't the right team structure for Thundurus Incarnate to thrive. Honestly, I just don't think, based on my play of it, that it's someone I would use anytime in the near future. Not that it's bad, just not for me. And there was no major season highlight. Aerodactyl is next. Aerodactyl, of course, high speed, something I've loved since Gen 1. It continues to be a Mon that I am very frustrated it doesn't get U-turn, as you'll see with some of my nicknames in the early episodes, the early battles of the season, if you watch those battles. But as it stands, it just doesn't quite hit hard enough without a choice band, and since you can't give it a band U-turn, it really doesn't work super well with my style. I also didn't have enough rock setters on the team, so Arrow sometimes had to do that, which isn't what it should be doing. It'll always be a lower tier speedy Mon that I'm going to look at, and for a season highlight, week 11 versus Spinork, Weavile came in a position where it could possibly sweep my team, but since I did give Arrow a nice scarf, I didn't have to worry about that, and Stone Edge didn't miss, and so I broke my 4-game losing streak with Arrow. Alakazam is next, and the grade for Alakazam is going to be an A-. Alakazam's always been a favorite of mine from Generation 1 onward. Psychic type, really cool. High speed, high special. Those are all my jams. But giving it the Z Crystal this season was such a great choice. With its great move pool, it did also get the improved Gold Silver Crystal Zap Cannon move, which worked really well for Alakazam in 2 different scenarios. Its speed isn't the most ridiculous thing as it used to be, but it's still very good and proved helpful for several of my matches. I would absolutely draft him again in the future and definitely would look to give him a Z Crystal. And the season highlight is going to be week 4 versus Dan. Again, I felt like I needed to prove that I could beat this team, and after falling in a match 3-4, I got an Alakazam in and used some subs to let Celesteela kind of kill itself with Leech Seed before I got the Calm Minds up, and at +2/+2, I beat Clefable with Psychics, and then Z-Zap Cannon and Psychic took out Alamomola and Zard X, as well as the Celesteela. Electivire is next. The grade for Electivire is going to be a D. Electivire is doomed to just be a Mon that was really cool in the anime, but was never any good in the games. There's no lower tier ground types that were available that were any good, and I needed an electric immunity, so I grabbed it, but it was a poor choice on my part. It's not someone I would draft again, but I do think that it's cool. And lastly, we have Medicham. I'm giving Medicham a grade of a C. Medicham is another cool Mon that I've always liked. I have used it in the past, and I think it, with some more support, it could be really threatening. But I did show that even without any team support, meaning without sticky webs, it can still thrive if it's in the right position. And of course, the season highlight is week 12 against Tosh. I saw the speed tiers and knew that if Kiram and Swellow were out, that I could outspeed his entire team and had some great coverage. I came in on Mega Scizor, KO'd with a Fire Punch. Bulu came in, and I O-code that with Poison Jab. Then Swampert came in, and I O-code that with Energy Ball that got boosted from Bulu's grassy terrain. And then finally, Mantine came in, and I decided to retire Medicham to let it rest in peace to get the final kill from someone else. Alright, and I decided to award a couple of team awards, so we're going to go through those, and first is going to be the Defensive Mon of the Year. Mega Venusaur, of course. Mega Venusaur finished surviving 36% of my games, and given my record, that is good, and had a 45% win rate when he was brought, and he even delivered 0.9 kills per game, which was pretty awesome for such a fat Mon who's not very fast. As that he's someone you throw out there and good luck. And our offensive Mon of the Year is Alakazam. Alakazam had 7 KOs out of 5 games that it was brought, It brought a 60% win rate when it arrived on the roster and finished with 1.4 knockouts per game. Overall, just to finish up, I was very happy to be asked to play this season. I was thrilled to get back into Mons. I'm super excited for the next season, and I'm already getting ready to draft my team, even though we haven't announced how we're changing up the league and drafts. So there's several weeks off, but I'm very excited when it happens. When it does, I'm definitely planning on a draft video, and then I might even do weekly videos too. So only time will tell, but thanks for watching, and see you guys again soon.